Southeast Missouri State head coach Tom Matukewicz, SEMO, fell at nationally ranked Jacksonville State this past week. They'll be at home. They're going to host Tennessee Tech on Sunday. So, Coach, thoughts about your team, and then we'll go to some questions.
Yeah, just want to tell Coach Gross and his football team congratulations. They played well, and they're fun to watch. They're a good football team, and they're going to have a great opportunity to win the OVC and represent us all in the playoffs. And so congratulations to them. I think just team wise, at the end of the day, we want it to be a fourth quarter game, whether it is or wasn't. At least we're talking about it, and you can't make winning and losing the goal. There's a lot of other things, and I think coming out of it, we're ready to start this next 3-game series and take on the state of Tennessee. So we're ready to flip the page and get started on Tennessee Tech. And they were a team that's been dramatically improved. They took us in, I think it was double overtime, maybe it was triple. I don't know. All these seasons run together in 2019, coach's first year, and he does such a good job. They got one of the better, just gutsy quarterbacks in Fisher. Got some good run game. And of course, number 7, their wideout is an all-conference. He's one of the best wideouts in the league. And defensively, they've been able to show up and play with great effort. They're physical. They're different. They're 4-man front, which we don't practice year round against, and we haven't played a lot of 4-man front. So schematically, be a challenge because they do such a good job.
Let's go to Tom Davis first. Go ahead, Tom.
Coach, something has to give this week because Tennessee Tech's given up the most sacks in the OVC, and you haven't gotten a sack in the OVC yet. So what do you need to do to maybe create some pressure on Fisher if you can?
Well, it's a challenge because he's a very mobile guy. And so one misleading thing in there that you need to look at is he's missed a game and a half.
Right.
And so the interceptions, and the sacks are not all his. So it's a little misleading there. But, just we got to be able to do what the other guys have been able to do. And they've got to be able to, pass rush and get home. But it's hard because he definitely does scramble, and he could get out of things. And so it'll be interesting.
Defensively, you've been really good on third down stops. Why are you guys performing well in that regard?
Yeah, and I would agree with you, and I'd also say, how impressed fourth down's been too. It's very similar, right?
Right.
They had a late 4th and 1. They still had all their starters in, and we held them on that 4th down, which said a lot about our character and about our team not giving up. But I think it just starts up front. I think our defensive line is strong and physical. They play with good pad level, and we try to pride ourselves in stopping the run. And so in those short yardage, that helps, but also it helps by getting people in 3rd and long. And if you're in 3rd and long, you'll be really good also.
On the other side of the ball, offensively, you guys have been good in converting 4th downs, and you've been good in red zone offense. So in high pressure situations, your offense has actually been pretty successful this year. Why are you guys doing well in that? What are you doing to execute there?
What's unique about our offense is we don't have a consistent issue or identity because it's really game to game. If you look at this game or this, and if you look at this game or that, and so it really just kind of depends on what game we're talking about and how effective we were or weren't. But we definitely work on critical situations and 3rd down and red zone and all those that everybody else does. And we've been able to win a lot more than we lose.
Have you been in seasons like this where you're second in turnover margin in the league, yet you're at the bottom of the standings, and that doesn't really equate? Usually if you have good turnover margin, then you're having a pretty successful season. Have you been in years like this before?
I feel like 17, we were about like that. I think, the traditional stats that dictate how well seasons go or don't go is you kind of throw them out in the spring season. Like it's just kind of a different year. But I do know that is a definite indicator of good football teams, and we'll continue to try and take care of the football and try to create takeaways. And so, we'll continue to do on that.
All right. Johnny King has really burst onto the scene this year. He's one of the leading receivers in the OVC. Obviously, you recruited him for a reason. You must have liked him, but what's he do well? Why has he been so effective so quickly in the OVC?
Well, I think Coach Drudick's done a good job coaching. He was a talented guy, but fundamentally, working on his release. He's a big guy too, so there's some big guy fundamentals that we had to work on that's really improved. And he's strong at reception point, but I still feel like there's just on offense in general and with him is we haven't been able to connect on the deep balls as much as we should be able to, and so that's a combination of a lot of things. But as good as he's playing, I still feel like there's an opportunity for us to improve that. Even though maybe not with him, maybe it's with deep balls and protections and stuff, but he's certainly doing a good job, and we need him to because Aaron Alston was obviously our top receiver going into the season, and we may not get him back for the rest of the year. So and it's a great opportunity for him and Z to pick up that slack there.
All right. That works for me. I appreciate it, Coach.
Coach, you were talking about Tennessee Tech in the beginning, obviously. Looking at their record and the games they've played, they played Jacksonville State about the same margin you did, and their other games are 6 points, 5 points, and 8 points. So they're in every game. Every game is close. And it's sort of just looking at the results across the league, that's pretty much every game. Not that that's different than a normal year, but can you just talk about every game probably is going to come down to a couple possessions in the fourth quarter this year?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the whole key is, everybody's good enough to win, everybody's good enough or bad enough to lose, basically. And so you have to find ways to win those critical situations. And I think first and foremost, it starts with just the respect of process and what it takes to prepare all week long to even get yourself in those opportunities in Sundays. It's going to start getting harder if you don't have a very high character team, because guys will start to look ahead for next year, or all the normal human DNA issues that you have. And so I think that gives us the best chance to win a close ball game is our preparation. So we just got to really focus on them this week.
And then since you said preparation, and I know we asked this to you in the preseason, has Sunday been any different than Saturday? Besides, it's a different day of the week. Have you all found it the same, easier, harder to prepare for a game on a Sunday?
I think the preparation's kind of the same. The thing that has changed is it's like the never-ending week. So you get done with a game, and in a fall season, you have Sunday to kind of rest and recover from a player standpoint and all that. Well, Monday we get COVID tested. We get COVID tested at 6:30 in the morning. They have class all day, and so what happens is it's like this loop that just keeps on going over and over and over again, because you don't really have any days off. Even though we don't practice and we don't lift, there's no care. You're still up and you're still having to do a lot of things. And so I think just that fatigue of your just the grind of the seasons, something that the best teams are going to be able to handle.
Well, I appreciate that perspective, Coach. Thanks for your time this morning. Best of luck on Sunday. We'll talk to you next week.
I appreciate it, Kyle.